So Lane's got food in his mouth, so we'll have him sing the opening ode. All right, we're gonna call, let's see, we're gonna ask for approval of meeting agenda items.
The agenda is as stands.
I move that we approve the agenda for October 10th, 2018 as presented.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda items for October 10th as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes of the September 12th, 2018 meeting as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the minutes for September 12th as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, correspondence
I have none, Mr. Chairman.
and public comment. Hearing none. 7, reports. ASB.
Mr. Stratton, you may introduce the SB president.
I have Miss Kaya Franklin here. Kaya, say it for me. Kaya Franklin here, and she is our ASD president. And I want to say one thing. Just being here for 4.5 weeks now, 5 weeks, because they were here before school started working hard. Probably for me, one of the greatest bunch of kids that work hard to make the school welcoming and changing things up and making things happen. Like the other night they must have been in, or I don't know when they did, but they changed all the bulletin boards and got new bulletin boards up. And it has an October fall Halloween theme on it. At the start of the year they had all the cool posters up. So they know they work really, really hard. And one way that they're able to do that is I allow Mrs. I do this every time I stall when I do her name, because I want to say Mrs. Hine, Mrs. Mize. I let Mrs. Mize have a 7th period leadership class, which they're all in. And so it gives them a time to work on stuff and also work on leadership skills also. So there's a little bit of curriculum to it. So anyways, Ms. Franklin will be our ASB reporter for the rest of the year unless she's busy and wants somebody else come in her place. So go ahead, Ms. Franklin.
Hi, I'm Kaya Franklin, ASB president. I made a couple copies, like 4, pass around, for our report, just so you can read it as well. There you go.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so Student Council began preparations for Welcome Back Week in early August to give us weeks to prepare to welcome students. We decorated the hallways with Welcome Back Class of posters for each grade level, a banner as students first entered the high school, and had fresh new bulletin boards. Outside of Miss Mize's room, we created a bulletin to introduce the new council. So every single one of us. We didn't put our positions though, but yeah. Anyways. Also during Welcome Back Week, the council came early to greet the incoming 7th graders and to help with their transition to our building. We had our first assembly the first Thursday and everything ran smoothly despite some coaches not being able to attend and speak for their teams. New teachers were gifted the council their favorite candy, drink, and honker gear. Principal and Vice Principal Stratton and Rose both said quick hellos introducing themselves to the students. We also created a dress code video to demonstrate to students what is acceptable to wear to school and what goes against the school dress code. An overall success. Our homecoming week was held September 24th through the 28th. The 2018 homecoming theme was Wizard of Oz. An old tradition we brought back was the parade this year. Students were given the chance to participate in hallway decorating and float building. The senior class was the Emerald City, juniors the Haunted Forest, sophomores were Munchkin Land, and the freshmen were the Witch's Castle. We held the annual bonfire as usual down here at the baseball fields. We weren't able to squeeze in He-Man or Powder Puff, but stay tuned as they are headed your way soon. Don't have an exact date yet, we just gotta look at our calendar, I believe. We also had the homecoming dance that was well attended, and we won the football game, so it was a successful week. ASB is continuing to work on future projects that will allow more students to be involved and to feel included. As always, it is one of our student council's goals to inform the students of events and to plan events the students want to attend. It's an ongoing process.
Awesome.
That's basically us.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Franklin.
Yeah.
Very good. Any questions?
Good girl.
Good answer. All right, principal's report.
Warner, you want to go first?
All right, a lot of this is just things that have been happening or upcoming dates for you guys. We have finished our dental screenings. We screened 154 kids, and they're coming back in mid-November to provide services to kids that need that. We have done vision screenings, we have done hearing screenings, which the speech pathologist from the ESD, they did our hearing screenings. We finished up vision screenings on Monday, and we saw every kiddo for vision screenings because we haven't done them in a while. The elves came from Portland to do that for us free of charge. That's why we haven't done it in a while, is other agencies were charging us $3 a child. We completed our kindergarten assessments, which we're required to do to measure pre-K coming in services. We completed our dyslexia screenings as well, and all of our Easy CVM fall benchmark testing is completed, and we've had a data team meeting to put those kids into intervention groups. We've had Pictures Day last week. Janice Heigl has been here once to work with us on math as a consultant, and then Dean has been here twice, once during in-service week and then this week to work with us. We've had our first PBIS assembly for Fremont Hay, and we alternate every other month. 1 month is awards, 1 month is kind of a character trait and spirit assembly, and we had high school kids come down and model the trait that we were working on, which was respect, and they spoke to the kids. And then we've had our first Student of the Month assembly at Union. And Union's doing something a little bit different this year, where they have a growth mindset, and they have a different trait every month that they work on for character education, but they're embedding that in their curriculum, and those kids have lessons in science, social studies, all kinds of different things that have to do with that growth mindset. And kind of what that looks like in practice is that they have a board, and if you've made a mistake or you found something really hard and you pushed through it, you didn't just give up, you kept trying, they go put their name on this board, and they do cheers and they do all kinds of stuff to encourage kids to not give up. And that we're all going to have stuff that's hard in life, and you've got to learn how to kind of power through that. Our little guys went up and attended the homecoming parade and thought it went really smooth. Mr. Stratton was gracious enough and his staff to move that back a little bit because we load our little guys at 2:15, 2:20, and we needed a little bit more time. Our kindergartners and third graders are going to the pumpkin patch. We plan to have a Halloween parade. I don't know if all of our grade levels will do it, but they'll be dressing up. We have a full-scale evacuation and hostile intruder drills at the elementary on October 12th. We had an assembly for 4-H. They came in and did sign-ups in like the 1st of December, I think, so they've come in and presented to all the schools. We're doing Stop the Bleed training next Wednesday. We didn't get that done last spring. We had too many conflicts with Bobby with track, and Abby Finetti's on board to help get as many volunteers as she can, so we can get that all done on a Wednesday afternoon. We have restraint training the week of the 22nd, 23rd, 24th for our classified staff, especially now that it's a part of their collective bargaining agreement, to get as many of those done as we can, and so we're getting that done. Third grade has a bugs project. It's in the hallway at Hay, and they've made some incredible bugs. That's on display there. And I think that's about it. We have somebody coming that would like to come, if it works into your agenda, to start doing reports from the elementary school like we did last year, if that is okay with you guys for next time. Do you have any questions?
I've been missing, but how's your numbers?
They're pretty stable. But we've had some move in and some move out. You know, it's just been a rotation, but overall stable. The classrooms are still pretty big, 27 in 6th grade. 2nd grade, we took that and made it a 1st-2nd split, and that helped with those numbers. But we hired that last paraprofessional, and she'll come on November 1st. And she actually is qualified to teach, but she's going to come on as a special ed paraprofessional, or a paraprofessional in general, and we're going to kind of plug some of those holes and give those teachers some extra support. Thank you.
Mr. Stratton.
Awesome. A lot of good things going on in the school. Sorry I don't have class numbers, but we're kind of the same. Like I gained 3 students today. Another young lady last week that we knew was coming showed up through, so you know, we've lost a couple here and gained a couple. Odd time of year to gain students, but we gained 4 students the last week and a half, so that was kind of different, but we're okay with that. And I think they'll be here to stay. I don't think these are transient populations. One's coming with mom, moving in with grandparents, and the other one is a family that got transferred here. They currently live on the other side of the border. They've done a inter-district agreement, interstate agreement, they're coming here, they're trying to find a place here, but that was the only place they could find that also had a place for their animals. And I looked at the mom, I go, I understand on that one. So hopefully they can get over there. They have 3 children, a senior, junior, and young man, gosh darn it, 8th grade? 8th grade,
And then one
yeah.
elementary.
And then, oh, wow, so then about 4, so good for us on that. Last week I was able to meet with a gal from Jack's office. Her name slips my mind, but we're working on a CTE mentorship program where we're getting some of our businesses to bring in our students and mentors. So we got a spreadsheet going that's active on a Google Sheet talking about places that would allow to bring a kiddo in and mentor them in some of the CTE fields. And an example is the other night Mr. Thornton from Elks talked to Will and I and said, hey, we really need somebody to come in and job shadow how to be a caterer, how to cook for large parties. Could we get a kid to come in and do this? And we're like, yeah, let me talk to June Dick and see what we can do through the culinary, so we're working on that CTE mentorship piece, and I'm pretty excited about that. Hopefully we can get that flying. So then we have our work program, we have our animal science program, and then we'll have this more of also a CTE. So I'm pretty excited if we can get that up and rolling. Right now the staff at both schools, all classified and certified now. So got a Spanish book for Esmeralda. We're doing a book study on the Energy Bus by John Gordon. It's a great quick read. If you're interested, when I get the books back, if anybody turns one in, I will. Or if you're an e-reader, pick it up. It's a cool read. This is the 4th time I've done a book study on it, and so far we've had a lot of really cool, positive praise about reading it. And people are already sharing their book and talking about it. So it's called The Energy Bus by John Gordon. And we do that on Wednesdays, part of our early release Wednesdays. We spend part of that time doing some sort of activity on the current, where we're at reading it. We tried last week to start our school messenger automated attendance program, and it went out on Thursday or Friday. It was great, and then we tried it again this week, and for some reason we are running into some bugs. We don't know why. Mr. Thompson and my secretary Emma are working on it, trying to figure out what the bugs are. There's some work orders out there, whatever, and I really don't know after today. Emma says she doesn't know what's going on, but there's a glitch either with School Messenger, LBL, or both, but it didn't work today like it was supposed to, and we were actually going to do some staff training today for our other secretaries, Tandy included, and we weren't able to do it because it's not working right. But we'll get it back on it. It worked for one day, it was great. Now we'll see if we can get it back up and running. I had it at my old school, really liked it, because we can tag our students and send out, like this morning, Drews Valley bus was 20 minutes late. We can have our students tag Drews Valley's bus 20 minutes late. We can send that out to just those parents, quick, your bus is 20 minutes late, and it will go just to them. So it's a really cool system. You can all call or specific groups.
What's it called again?
School messenger.
School
I
messenger.
think Jack got it in his previous schools, he brought it to us.
It
Not only does it, he's a superintendent, if we have a snow day, I can get into it and it'll contact parents, emails, and telephone numbers and so on. And coaches too. And
Yeah.
basically,
And board
coaches can
members.
target their athletes, you board members, we can target you as far as getting messages to you, so improving our, communication system, I think this is gonna be a fantastic tool.
We just got, for some reason we got a glitch, and we'll get it, and it works great. I'm excited to get it back. And we used it last week for tardies and attendance. So we send it automated phone call, text, and an email if their child missed a class or was tardy. So that worked. Classes are going well. Our Orbit Spanish class, we've kind of roughed out the edges, and the students are learning how to work with an offline out-of-building teacher, and I would say that it's been pretty quiet there for a while. You and I were putting out fires almost every period, and Brandy Harris, but now we've gotten the right technology, the headphones, the splitters, and the students are learning how to make, because they have to call that teacher during their office hours, because the teacher is actually an actual teacher, and so they can't get back until they're done teaching and learning how to make those email conversations with the teacher. But the students who stuck with it, I feel really good, and it's working. So I'm excited about that. The rest of the schedule, our schedule's running, our class sizes are pretty good, a couple big ones here and there. but I'm pretty happy with where we're at with our staff. Cafeteria is buzzing. They're pumping out more meals than they have in a long time. They actually had a record meal count the other day. It was like 186 meals. And I don't know what to justify because it's nice weather, so they should be going outside or out town. You'd think on the cold weather days we'd have more of the older kids staying and eating there, but for some reason they're pumping out food. So it's pretty cool. And the break time, the kids are eating the break time food. And I was just like, it's carrots and ranch dressing, it's cottage cheese and peaches or granola and yogurt. And kids, both age groups are getting after it. So excited about that. We are short subs. I don't know if you know that or not, but we are short subs. Substitute teachers, substitute janitors, custodians, and it makes it really, really difficult on staff development days. And then you throw in a sick person or somebody who goes on a trip. It has been, the other day I think we had 24 combinations of subs, teacher subs in our building. Hats off to my teachers who are willing to give up their prep to do that. Ms. Harris, Mr. Rose, and myself, we all taught classes the other day. But that's one thing that I've recognized that it's a problem. We're super, super short on subs. And not from anybody trying hard to recruit. We're trying super hard. We're begging just as much as you were trying to find a 2nd and 4th grade teacher all summer. Begging and kicking every rock over, but it's been tough. Can't read. Holy cow, that's terrible. I got PSAT and SAT, I'm missing something though. Oh, working with community partners, thank you. I have my glasses.
You want my cheaters?
I need your cheaters. Working with community partners. I've had some great meetings with the gal from ESD. Help me out with her name.
Leanne Davis.
Leanne Davis, thank you. ESD. I went and met with the advisory council, Mr. Smith's advisory council the other morning at Tall Town. That 6:30 meeting was kind of rough, but I made it in the morning. But it was good to see Frankie Manabusin at 6:30 morning. He's always so chipper. Also juvenile, both Mary and Buddy, and then Jake Greer. Super great people, and they're working really hard helping us. So I feel really good with our community partnerships, and I'm looking forward to meeting with the emergency service people tomorrow, right?
Correct, 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock,
Yeah.
to get some of those things in place, because it takes a whole community to run a high school. We need everybody on the same page, and so far I'm excited about the start we've made so far. PSAT, we've done that twice now. We did the 8th graders about a week ago, all of them, and then today we did all the 10th graders PSAT, and then that was 72, and then we did about 36 combination of junior and seniors SAT and all-day SAT day. So we tested a bunch of kids, and I think that's really good, that all-day school day, because we get a lot of kids tested that wouldn't otherwise not take it if it was on a Saturday. Hats off to Mrs. Mize and putting that together, and also Mrs. Counts.
So on the PSATs, do you get results back?
Yeah. We should get some results and some data that we can use and work with. I think the most importantly is have a sit down with those students and talk to them about where they're at and then what they can do next. I haven't worked with an SAT program since I left here. All my experience is ACT, and Wyoming is an ACT state, so it's going to take me a while to see what they give us and what we can do, but I'm sure Mrs. Counts and Mrs. Harris have worked with the kiddos in the past, and I'll make sure we do that, because it's important that we show them those data, where they sit compared to what they would need for the daily fund or whatever college they're interested in areas of how they can get better on. That's it. Sorry, I was long-winded.
Good report.
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
You said those who are stuck with it, with Spanish.
Uh-huh.
What does that mean?
Well, when the initial enrollment came in, a lot of kids signed up for that class, and we initially thought we were going to get a teacher. We had 3 turn us down, Mr. Cahill.
We did, well, no, 4.
Four job offers turned down. And so we went to Plan B, which we jumped back and forth a couple times, and Plan B is an Orbit, so it's an online Spanish program. And
We learned up from Paisley, North Lake, 'cause that's what they do up there.
they do up there. And it's a good program, but it's a totally different style of learning. And they actually have a teacher, and they have to watch. It's self-paced. So we're sitting next to each other, but we're not learning at the same time. Headphones and a speaker. And then we have Mrs. Cobian as a para in there. So it worked. She's the old Spanish teacher. But one of the things is the students after a while, some couldn't make it work. It just wasn't, they didn't give it enough try to stick with it. And so we had some drops and they went into some other classes. Hopefully,
So foreign language is required.
yes, foreign language is required. So we really, especially the older students, we said, you know, this, we had, so every freshman that signed up for Spanish 1, we had their parents come and talk to us at registration. So their schedule was highlighted, please see Miss Harris. And they all, this says I need to see a yes because your son or daughter's in Spanish 1. This is the program we have, we wanna let you know about it. What is the requirement? What are we gonna do? And at that time, we had a handful of parents, me included, say, Kel, we'll take it at another time. So we had a handful drop out that way. And then after about the first week, we waited till the 10-day window. We had a handful of kids that just said, this isn't for me, this learning style is not working, and they went to a different elective. Knowing and having the conversation that it is a requirement. So we had, it wasn't like they just said, I don't want it, and we dropped it. We made the parent conversation and counseled them through it.
Well, and those in the second year
Uh,
went and talked to Miss Harris also.
yes,
Because Logan's in his second
Yeah.
year of it,
yeah.
which that's been a little bit concerning to transition in, you know, how much did you really learn in your first
First year.
year as to how you're gonna transition into this year. So it's been a little bit of a process.
It's been tough because Spanish is taught and you can learn it. And when you go from year 1 to year 2 in the same building, it's fluid. But when you go from year 1 to year 2 in a separate building in a separate teaching style, there might be some gaps, and not on purpose gaps, just two different curriculums. So there's some things that we got to work through, and if we can, we will get a live body back next year if we can. The students who are in Orford right now are doing well, and we'll stick with that program. And I know they've had good success up in Northwick.
But the kids that chose to pass are gonna have to jump in next year.
Depending on their grade level or where they're at, yes. They're gonna have to, one way or the other, they're gonna need it, yes.
Jack and I went to a superintendent's meeting here about 2-3 weeks ago, and I think the number 1 and number 2 most difficult teaching positions to fill are special ed and foreign language.
It is not there.
Yeah. And that's a real concern, you know.
Speech pathologies
So Lee mentioned kind of continuity with them with Spanish from one year to the next. I would say that that isn't necessarily just the case for Spanish. We've had a lot of turnover in our buildings in the last few years, and I think, I know I have a child that is actually commented to that, and he's not in Spanish. Without
Continuity.
the continuity in classes.
That's a goal.
And, yeah, I realize there's not, our hands are tied to some extent, but
We definitely fix.
it's something that we're starting to see the impacts of, and we need to figure out creative solutions.
Now think about, you know, in your business of firefighting, when teams transfer from an initial team to a team 1 or team 2, and how it takes a while for everything to roll over. And anytime you have that transition, it's tough. One thing is we started on curriculum last spring. Mr. Counts did as part of his admin experience. And our goal is we have a couple things that we've shot around. And as the dust settles, we're going to continue to build that so that we have a stronger working document on curriculum. So even if we do have staff turnover, we have a more better curriculum map. So when I do get a new teacher next year, this is what last year's teacher taught, this is what I want you to teach. So we're working really hard to, if we can't stop teacher turnover, at least we have a good map that every teacher is going to use and be held to.
I think it's not necessarily also, solely in curriculum, but I think it's also just every teacher's style of teaching is different, and it just takes weeks at the beginning of the year with every new teacher to figure out who they are, how to
What their hot
understand what.
buttons are.
And every principal, because every principal comes in and says, I want you to work on lesson targets and success criteria. I want you to do the RTI model. I want you to do this. So you think about that too. Even our tenure teachers have had different leadership styles that they've had to adjust to. It's cool to walk through the hallways. The hallways are quiet, and teachers are teaching, and students are learning. it's been neat the last couple weeks to walk around. I've been able to get into the classrooms, and I'm pleasantly pleased with what's going on. So
Parent-teacher conferences are still a ways off, right?
not too far.
November 8th and 9th. Or November 7th,
7th,
excuse me.
Yeah, 'cause we just got progress reports. Well, the biggest concern at my house was this Spanish class. Because I got a pre-heads up that it might be ugly
That's a smart boy.
about 2 weeks ago. And it was fine, but I think that part of that is this transition in that you don't have your teacher in class. And so when you do need something, it's a different process that they have to figure out. And he kept telling me and assuring me that really it wasn't as bad as it was gonna look on paper, because this teacher has X number of kids and there's all this stuff that hasn't been graded yet. But it all came out fine. Whatever he was worried about got caught up and graded and in there before the progress report.
A lot of it is learning how to submit and resubmit your work.
Yeah, and then like with that, you know, looking at it, okay, well, there's 60 some odd lessons or chapters or something in the semester. And so, you know, okay, well, you take that in half and you take that in half again, and so you need to be a quarter of the way through this. And his grade doesn't reflect that he's not a quarter way through, and I'm like, well, you're a little bit behind, you're gonna have to figure this out. So it's a whole different process than what they're used to.
Every Spanish student got a different customized progress report, whether you're passing or failing. And on the bottom of it was written, you've completed 10 out of the 62 assignments, or you've completed 7 out of the 62 assignments, or whatever each student had. So we kind of customized that, and so every student that's in the Orbit Spanish 1 or 2 received a progress report, instead of the typical, if you're getting a 69% or lower, we just sent one home to all the Spanish students.
Appreciate it. Good report.
Mr. Rose.
Middle school volleyball is in full swing. They had a game today against Bonanza. They're playing out at Union. They've been practicing in town and playing their games out there. Depending on how our varsity volleyball team does, if they qualify for playoffs, if they don't qualify for playoffs, then our middle school volleyball teams will be able to play their final 2 games here at the high school gym. And I've been working with our coaches trying to get them in to give those girls a chance to play in the big gym. But their games are the days following the middle school games, and so they want those pre-game days to have practice in the gym together. And so it's
You'd make one young lady very happy. Thank you.
Sure. All right. So we're looking at that. So next week they play Monday, Tuesday, because Wednesday is parent-teacher conferences in Klamath County. So they've been playing Monday, Wednesdays, doing well, holding their own against some of the big Klamath schools. Henry Ponderosa and those schools, like I said, today's Bonanza out there, and Crumrine and Susie Larson coaching the teams there. Lisa Schulenberger and Tanya Stratner helping out with the scorekeeping in the books, which is a big help. And middle school basketball is going to start pretty soon. I spoke with Stephen Johnson from Klamath County School District, and in the past year we were part of that league, as we are now with the middle school volleyball. And so Klamath County then organizes that schedule, and then we have to schedule our referees and let them know where we're playing. And he let me know earlier this week that tomorrow they're having a meeting with all the ADs in Klamath County to see if Lakeview will be included with that. They may just do a county school deal. And so if that's the case, then we will need to schedule our own games. We'll need to contact Hosanna Triad, some of the other schools that are outside their school district, and build our own schedule. So he said they're meeting Friday, and he'll let me know first thing Monday morning. We're really hoping that we can participate again with KCSD last year, like we are with middle school volleyball. We're looking for a 7th grade girls basketball coach at this time. We have lead on one, but we'll see. So that's posted, as well as a couple other coaching positions right now. So girls basketball, middle school girls basketball will be first, and then because Pop Warner is still in session, boys basketball will be after Christmas break for middle school. Current sports, cross country has been real active. They had a meet today over in Central Point. They also go this Saturday to Wairika. Districts are the 25th, and then November 3rd would be their state. So Bobby's got them disciplined and running well, so we anticipate some people qualify for state. And football is on a little win streak here, so we're excited. They play at Hidden Valley this Friday against Coquille. They won their homecoming game, and we have 2 more games after Coquille. So we play Illinois Valley and Glide after that. Coquille's going to be a tough opponent, though. So we'll build it up for that. Volleyball's on a little win streak as well. They won at Illinois Valley yesterday. So they have 3 remaining games: Lost River, Butte Falls, and Rogue River. They are in the 4th spot right now, and so they're hoping to win these last 3 and qualify for playoffs and not have to play the number 1 seed Glide, which is pretty tough. We went to Glide on Saturday, and we lost to them again. They've got some girls about my height.
Was
No
Glide
football.
3A last year? They dropped down this year too.
I think so.
Yeah. I'm really pleased with the coaching staff this fall. I've had conversations with a lot of them on the side, on the field, and coming in new, I feel like they've shown commitment to their teams, and especially these 2 new volleyball coaches that we've had. They're really excited to work alongside them. I kind of see them the most, other than Coach Stratton and Coach Stupak, just because they're practicing in the gym. I guess Coach Bobby, I see quite a bit. Let's see here, boys and girls soccer. Girls soccer is having another successful season. St. Mary's is in our league, and they're just kind of head and shoulders right now above everyone else. So it's Cascade, Lakeview kind of battling for that next spot. We beat Cascade by 1. We've lost to Cascade by 1 in our games with him. Let's see, we were ranked 12th in OSAA for our district, and so it's looking good. We play IV. We rescheduled some games. We rescheduled both soccer games actually from today to tomorrow, so they could be on campus for the SAT. And so we go into IV tomorrow, and then they play St. Mary's here this Saturday. So hopefully we can hold our own, and then we play Rogue River. So the 20th of October, we have a soccer doubleheader. Boys and girls both play, and that'll be our senior recognition day. Football senior recognition will be the 26th, that final home football game. And then volleyball home recognition will be next Thursday, the 18th, for seniors. Okay, so I've worked with Ms. Mize and talked to Mr. Louie, who's had some experience with that, and we're planning that and looking at seniors we're going to recognize. And yeah, I'm excited that soccer is going to do this, that it worked out to have that doubleheader, and that soccer is doing that in between games, and that we'll all be there together, and parents will be there. And then volleyball, we'll all be together in the gym. So cross country, we're going to recognize along with the football team, cheer, and the trainers as well at the football game that night. I plugged for the boys soccer. They've had 2 good ties this year, Cascade and Paisley, which are quality teams, on the road. And it's in talking to Coach quite a bit. He said, I feel like when we're not at home, the boys don't feel that pressure. And interestingly enough, having the scoreboard up there and having the big score and lights, once you get behind a little bit, it can put some pressure on you as a player. And both coaches they recognize that. And so it's the players adjusting to that too, and going, oh man, it's really getting out of hand here. And it gets kind of embarrassing sometimes. The boys Shad's doing a good job developing that program, I feel. And so they've had some, like those 2 ties against strong teams. They have another league win, so. November. Winter sports start the week of November 11th. Okay, so we have a position for both. Randy Lampman told me that on Monday night, the JV football game, that we need a JV boys basketball coach now. And Cody and Roger let me know that Roger is willing to do whatever needs to be done, but we're looking for a JV or assistant varsity coach for boys or for girls. So and those are posted. Thank you. So recall the addendum that Mr. Stratton and I proposed for the student handbook. So that was approved, and that was delivered to our students with the student handbook. And we've applied that plan of assistance starting this week. Those progress reports came out. I've been working with Mr. Counts, our admin intern, and we're meeting with students and putting together plans for checking in with their teachers making a plan for when they're going to be staying after school, talking to the teachers about what's most important to get their grades up, and this will allow them to maintain their eligibility here for the next 4.5 weeks. For that block of time, give them a chance to get their grades up. So that plan of assistance is, I feel at this point, really motivating some of those kids, some of those children, because they're realizing, well, it's not, I'm just done, I'm out of here. But I have this chance to really make this up, and I've got to get going if I hope to play more this semester once the next sports season starts.
How many kids do you have within your plan of assistance?
So I believe there are about 10 was my last count, for those that had 2 or more failing grades. Yeah. For fall athletes. And then 1 middle school.
Well, I think that process is great. And the other side of it is, I think it gets those kids that are in that position, makes them realize that somebody cares. It's not that your grades are bad and you're gone. To kind of help motivate them and send them, because somebody is trying to help and, working on that. So I think that plan that you guys put together is very worthwhile.
Good pickup, man. Glad you realized that.
Thanks, Chris.
We're a team.
Good team.
Okay, anything else?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Old business,
I have none, Mr. Chair.
new business.
Pleased to introduce Superintendent Jack Thompson from Lake County ESD to present our annual memorandum of understanding.
Okay, so you've got it in your board packet, but if you'd like I brought nice, color copies if you want them. This year's MOU is very similar to last year's, and not a whole lot of changes there. We do have some new folks as far as like SLPs. SLP is probably the number 3 of difficult people to try and find. We ended up having to hire a video, person doing it over video. That happened, Paisley's been doing that for years, I guess, with their online program, but this is our first chance of doing it. So far seems to be working. We hired a assistant that will be the physical body going to the schools, collecting the kids, taking them to the video, sitting with them, and then returning them to class, getting the next kid, that kind of thing. So we'll have somebody there to watch over them, but the actual therapy will be happening over the computer. The lady is Chisa Abdullah is her name, and she's down in Houston, Texas. So that's something that's different this year. Everything else is pretty much the same. Something that's not on your MOU is we are continuing with our threat assessment coordinator for this next year, or this year, and so that's still ongoing. My newest project that I'm working on at the ESD is, it came to light last year when Northlake had the death of the student right at the end of the year. Talked with the superintendent up there, and right, I think the day after it happened, and there was really nothing that we could do. There was nothing we could do to help them or organize anything. And so I realized that was an area of weakness in this county. We do not have what we call a flight team, a group of individuals from the different districts that can rally together, go to a school, set up a safe room, assist with crying students, those kinds of things. We'll have a licensed staff member on the flight team. So if a teacher breaks down, a teacher needs to leave the classroom, we'll have somebody that can a licensed person that can be able to go in and take their class. A thank you to this district. You've offered up your 2 counselors. They'll be part of the team. We've got a pretty good mix. We've got a pastor, 2 counselors. We've got a juvenile is giving us a person. Sheriff's office is giving us a person. We got 1 person from mental health, 1 person from the hospital, and 2 people from the ESD. So we've got a good mix of folks. I think I have about 10. And then that way, if we need to deploy, hopefully we can get at least 5 of them to be able to go to a building. The idea is we're going to get trained the first week of November, get all trained up, get everything ready to go, get everything in place, and then cross our fingers that we never have to deploy. That's our goal, how that happens. So that's my newest thing. So
But other than that, on the MOU, everything is pretty much the same. I wish we would have got a few more grants and things, but they were pretty far and few between this last year. We did get a grant to be able to do the kindergarten camps this year. And so that was positive to be able to have that happen, so. If you have any questions or anything, I'd be happy to answer any.
How many folks do you have on staff this year?
9, I think, on staff. We still have, Debbie is still on there, our business, or she's been an office manager for, she was 20+ years. And Sarah's still with us, so we've got a real good solid core there. Debbie is helping this year, she's gone part-time, so she's helping with the business office. And then she is continuing with the special education. She's in charge of all the paperwork and that kind of stuff, the files and everything. And then we hired a new office administrative assistant, Taylor Heilman, and she's in our front office, so she's our first face that you see. Yeah, she's a local gal.
Yeah.
I don't know what her Christensen, there you go. Yeah, so but she's working out fantastic. We're really happy to have her, and we stole her from the hospital, so very happy to do.
Okay, so if there are any more questions, we need approval.
Yeah, do the motion to approve. There's a motion on the agenda item.
I move to approve the memorandum of understanding between Lake County School District 7 and Lake County ESD as presented.
Second.
It's been moved to approve the memorandum of understanding between Lake County School District Number 7 and Lake County ESD as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Right.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jack.
You bet. And if you want to sign one, I'll take it back with me and save Janet having to, and Tandy having to figure out where they're at.
So we'll hunt you down.
Well, no, I'll just take it with me and we're done. You don't have to worry, you don't have to hunt me down. Yeah. Hand that one to her and that way.
Do I need to date it?
We'll get a big smile. Yeah, that's your choice. How's that?
Good job.
Look at that
Thank you,
smile.
Jack.
All right. If you don't mind, I'm gonna take off. Not that your business isn't important.
I understand.
I've got five board meetings this week, so.
See you,
See
Jack.
my wife. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Okay, 9.2 2020 Senior World Strides European Field Trip.
I don't see Miss Young here this evening, so Mr. Stratton or Mr. Rose, I guess you're on.
You don't feel confident
I don't
presenting it?
know much about this.
I think we need, I don't know much about this. I know she's excited to do it, but I don't, I apologize, I didn't catch this on the agenda in our staff meeting the other day, so I didn't invite her to know what was happening, so.
She actually asked to be here, and so she must have just forgot, because she specifically asked for October 10th.
Okay.
So,
So we table it?
I'd recommend we table it.
Okay, so we'll move it to the next meeting. 9.3 LCSD Forecast 5.
So I submitted a memo to you guys. Did you have a chance to read that? Kind of go through that, or maybe not?
Can you give just a
Yeah, I
brief?
can. So OSBA and OASBO has actually teamed up with this Forecast 5. What it's providing is there's two elements to it. One is demographic type situations, child counts, child births, and that sort of thing, so we can anticipate a little bit of kindergarten coming in. So there's a piece of that. It uploads all of our reports from that we submit to ODE and has it available. We can compare size, like, and quantity to other school districts, that sort of thing. On the other side of that is budgetary information that is also available, or could be available to us, so that we could forecast, look at trends going backwards, those kinds of things. And so I looked into this, and really didn't, I missed the email, honestly. I thought it was junk email, so I kind of put it to the side. Went to OASBO in July, discovered it probably wasn't junk email. I should probably get that back out. And so I did, and actually I sat through a phone conference with them specifically, and they, you know, they tailored it to Lake County School District, just so I could see it and that sort of thing. OSBA and OASBO has subsidized the software so that the state of Oregon had the opportunity to look at it, get involved with it. It is a $7,500 cost. I did mention in here that it is not in my budget, and I have some room to spend, and noting that we're probably doing a supplemental anyway from other things that are happening. That way I could build this in. But I think this is a pretty good opportunity, especially with all the construction that is happening and all of the technical grant that's been revealed to us. I think this is gonna help us make some more decisions, better decisions, and give me some better tools to run with, not only with ADM numbers coming in, trends in as far as student head count, and those kinds of things, so we can anticipate those state school fund dollars, along with kind of maintain that construction going forward, however that looks going forward.
Okay. Any discussion?
Well, I guess the only concern that I have is it seems fine now, but I don't want to end up in the same situation that we were last year. And in March, we went to the high school and said, you know what, you guys have to quit spending money because we're out of sync. We've spent too much money in other categories, and you know, that's my only concern. Is it's pretty early in the year, and while this may be great and is valuable, you know, last year by the end of the school year we weren't able to order a box of paper. So I guess that's my only concern as we look at this.
Well, that's not necessarily true. What we said was, don't be frivolous. Get what you need for your classrooms and how to help you
well, and
teach.
that may be what your perception was, but I know from more than one teacher that it was pretty much we have to quit spending money, even though I haven't spent all the money that was in my budget, that was allocated, you know. So that's my only
So the
concern.
bigger question is how much slush do you think we have?
Well-
Is 7,500 pretty small potatoes, or is it?
7,500 is a small piece. I think I anticipated that our ending fund balance was gonna be close to $1 million, and it actually ended up being about 1.4. So I had a little extra in there that I did not realize that we had. And a lot of that had to do with federal forest fees. We were not anticipated to get those, and that's always a juggle every
I
year.
thought we were just under $1 million, that's what you're thinking.
It might have been just under $1 million. Yeah, rounding off sake, roughly.
Okay, well,
So that would be my only.
yeah, well taken. Darwin, welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Time to finish coaching a soccer game. Apologies for being late. So 75, it's really software that helps you do a better job budgeting. Is that what I'm hearing?
Budgeting,
Yeah,
forecast forward.
forecasting, not
Yeah.
not just budgeting for a year, but forecasting.
Forecasting it forward,
So,
yeah.
Like you said, it's a small amount. It's a one-time thing that you're gonna have it now.
You know, they're talking, they're trying to figure out what that subsidy is going to be in the following year. They don't know that yet. This trial run out for
Yeah,
the
'cause it
year.
says subscriptions are for 1 year.
Yeah.
You think it'll be 7,500 next year?
They're hoping to, they're actually hoping
Well, it's on the next page.
that there will be enough districts within the state that actually moves forward on this and
Yeah,
and
there's
gets
one
help
that
at the
looks
end.
like-
So they're hoping that that subsidy will actually be larger
So what are we,
between the two places.
what are we paying for now?
I'm not paying for
So,
anything.
so, I mean,
I'm winging it by
potentially could it be
hand.
7,500 every year though?
It could potentially be 7,500 a year.
So that's something that hopefully they can give us more details on, because 7,500 a year, geez, that's, I mean, that adds up. you know.
One thing that we can do though is consider what kind of product it gives you.
Yeah.
It's like a 1-year trial.
Mhm.
You don't have to re-up.
You don't have to re-up, absolutely not. And if we find that it's more cumbersome than it is helpful, or you know, or,
Maybe they'll have some competition.
right, exactly.
And are you able to export everything you've got now into this software?
That includes, I can go clear back, like 13, 14, 14, 15, as far back as I wanna go, to bring that in, export it back in.
With all the state reporting flowing into it, such as the ADM and the other aspects of that, will give us a great amount of data and insight in order to really, you know, to formulate a good projection of the budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If there's no further discussion, do we have a motion?
I move to approve the 2020, whoops, wrong one. I'm headed to Europe.
9.3.
Okay, how about if I move to approve the Forecast 5 agreement as presented.
Is there a second? Okay, been moved and seconded to approve the Forecast 5 agreement as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, 9.4, annual OASC fall conference.
I can speak to this.
You speak to
Yeah, I can speak to
Very good,
this.
Mr. Sharp, go for it.
Because this has been something I think we've been going to for a super, super long
We
time.
have indeed,
And,
yes.
and I know that it's always been well received and the kids come back energized and the student leaders in the past have always spoken highly of it. So I would ask that you please would approve this trip of our student council going to the fall OSAC conference in Seaside, November 3rd through the 5th.
Okay. We're pretty well familiar with that.
And our student councils, they're an amazing group, they're kicking butt, so if this is something they get something out of and it rejuvenates them and gives them great ideas, I'm all for it.
Yep. Any further discussion?
Something we budget for, right, so. it's in the budget.
It's been, yeah, they've been going for a long, long time.
Okay.
I move to approve the annual 2018-19 OASC Fall Conference as presented.
It's been moved and second to approve the annual 18-19 OASC fall conference as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Announcements.
A week from tonight is the OSBA annual fall meeting. Going to take a show on the road across the state of Oregon. I think there's going to be a lot of great information, especially in regard to the upcoming legislative session and what's going to happen in it. They always serve a really great dinner and great presenters, and I'm going to have the expedition and leave here at 5 o'clock if you want to ride up with me. If you want to go on your own, that's fine too. So hope some of you can make that, and that is my general announcement. A week from tonight, expedition leaving here at 5. If you don't want to do the expedition, the program will pay their part the 6th community center.
Next board meeting agenda items.
Well, we have an elementary classroom project report. National Honor Society is going to bring a request for a beautification project. And I've been going around meeting with schools on district goals. And I've got Lakeview High School to meet with, and I'm going to meet with my superintendent advisory committee on the 18th, so I'd like to give you the district goals update report. That's all I can think of.
A presentation from Chalice.
Okay. All right. Anything else for the good of the order?
I have one, Mr. Chair.
Has there been any finalization, direction, resolution, implementation as far as the teachers and faculty that are double insured and how that process is gonna shake out?
I can give you a quick report on that. The thing was Senate Bill 1067, and I met with Warner Reschke, the representative, last week. Basically, it's set to take effect on July 1, 2019, which will be quite devastating to this district if it does happen, as far as some of our employees go. Mr. Reschke has assured me that he will fight it when, if he gets reelected and returns to the floor. I've also had conversations with OSBA and COSA, and I'm also going to develop a letter that if the board is interested in also submitting a letter to of concern to our state legislators and the governor and everything else, I'd be happy to draft something in that regard, email it out to you and let you have a look.
Okay.
So, the representative, Janet and Patty and I met with him last week, explained to him, the catastrophic effects of having this district. So I'm gonna be in contact with him. I've already sent a letter to Senator Lithicum, and I also sent a letter to the governor. So that's where we're at on that. I hope we can turn the tide on it.
So we'll hear updates on that in the future.
Yeah, I can sure put it, I'll get it in.
That might be something that we could hear about in Paisley too.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think it probably will be an agenda item as far as discussion up there as well. So,
All right. You good? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
We moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries.
thank you.